we're out driving around in the new toy.
Mm-hmm.
Karen bought a new car.
Yes, I did.
A Ford Focus. So we're retiring the Impala, and it will be somebody's new fun ride for them to drive around, and we are driving around in the new fun Ford Focus that Karen just bought, and that's an awful lot of fun. But I want to tell you a story because it's really an interesting and weird story. Years and years and years ago, back in the early 1960s, my brother bought a car. Now he was only like 10 or 11 years old. Shows up at home, hey, I just paid 15 bucks and I bought a 1930 Chrysler. And my mom was okay with it.
That's amazing.
Which is weird.
I had a heart attack when my kids just wanted to buy cars, period, you know. And
he drove it up and down the driveway because his legs would actually reach the pedals, just barely, and so he drove it around. Well, anyway, I bring that up because he heard about a 1930 Chrysler that was in something of a wrecking yard in the town of Grantsville, Utah. And he said, we got to go find that car because if it's out there and I can get parts, because I might need parts. He really didn't need parts. The car worked just fine. But he wanted to see if there truly was another 1930 Chrysler. So we go out to this place, and here's this wrecking yard. Sort of.
Yeah, sort of a wrecking yard.
Sort of a wrecking yard. There wasn't anything in that wrecking yard past like 1940.
Wow.
There was stuff going back to maybe 1910. And so we wander out in there, and we're starting to wander around, and then here comes this guy out of nowhere, Aaron McBride.
Wow.
And he says, what are you kids doing? And my brother says, I just bought this 1930 Chrysler, and blah, blah, blah. Well, all of a sudden, it's car guys, and everybody's talking cars. And he takes us over, and he shows us the 1930 Chrysler, and sure enough, he's got one there. He's pretty much got one of everything there.
Right.
And it's just amazing. And it's this old airport on top of that, and there's these old airplanes there.
Wow.
And they're in this airplane hangar, and it's like, there's no runway. The airport's been closed for years and years and years and turned into a wrecking yard, which is really more of a car collection than a wrecking yard. But the airplanes are still there too, and he's just got all this stuff and all these amazing cars. And anyway, we thought we'd go out to Grantsville and just see if we could figure out where that place was.
There you go.
You know, and so we drive out there, and we're driving around looking to see if there might be where we could find where the old airport used to be. And we found where the old airport used to be, and it is still the McBride wrecking yard.
Wow.
And they're still doing the same thing. They've got some newer cars in there now. I mean, you know, they've expanded their horizons. They're into the really modern stuff. I mean, there's 50s cars, 60s cars. But generally speaking, there's still not much in there newer than about 1970. A few things.
Wow.
A few things. But mostly it's really early iron, and it's just the way I remember it. And that's really so weird because that's like 50 years ago.
Wow.
And
50 years ago.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Just the way
it's really,
I
really
remember
cool, though.
it.
Yeah.
And it's still an airport. And the hangar's still there, although the airplanes are gone.
Family-owned.
Anyway, check this out. You might find it amazing. 3 generations of McBrides have lived on this old abandoned airport, a sort of self-styled junkyard of their own creation. As the story goes, Rat Fink himself lives in a junkyard, and I swear to God I saw him here. I'd be willing to bet that Aaron McBride just started hauling parts cars out here to use on his own projects, and like a lot of screwing around, the whole thing just sort of got out of hand. While the McBrides do sell parts, it's not something that they've ever really advertised or a particular piece of business that they've gone after. This is just sort of their collection. There are tons of Studebakers here, but, well, there's a little bit of everything if you look around. Most of it's pre-1970, but there's stuff here that's even rather modern. The collection is really eclectic. There's farm equipment, construction equipment, heavy bulldozers. There are even some trailer homes here. As I was saying, back in the 60s when I first came here, there were even airplanes in the old hangars. I understand that all those planes are back flying air shows now. Now, Aaron McBride was a true, dyed-in-the-wool, over-the-top, full-goose bozo car nut. And at the time, he was working for the Cord division of Auburn, so it seemed to make perfect sense to start collecting cords and bringing those to Grantsville. He ended up with 6 of them. He also bagged himself a Duesenberg, and Bill Harrah talked him out of that car later on. And not being content with only collecting cars, anything associated with cars got hauled out here to Grantsville as well. And with all this gas station stuff laying around, it was just a matter of time before the family decided to build themselves a gas station. Now there's something about a Texaco station that just perfectly evokes the era. So of course they built a Texaco station, which provides a wonderful home for the little bits and pieces that they'd collected that you would find inside a gas station. They've got a great collection of oil cans, some really obscure and strange labels, and they've got some of these oil jars, the predecessors to the oil can. And look at this, gold strike and green stamps. And of course a nice collection of the obligatory maps that the gas stations used to give out. And check out these little baby oil cans in this display. And on pretty much any given weekend you'll find hot rodders and antique car people taking photographs of their ride in front of the gas station. Now Aaron's son Dennis has rebuilt one of the hangar buildings. It's the original roof, but the rest of it's been reconstructed. And this is where the prime stuff lives, is in the old hangar building. Because these cars were bought before they were really collectible at all, they're all original. Only the fire truck has had any restoration work done on it. Here too, the mix is rather eclectic. A couple of beautiful Jaguars here, and an MG. There's also more than the usual number of Studebakers because Aaron loved Studebakers. A lot of these cars were owned by celebrities. This little 63 Studebaker was owned by Agnes DeMille of the famous DeMille filmmaking family. You know, Cecil B. was her uncle. Her father was quite a director as well. She was a choreographer, having been trained in classical ballet, perhaps best known for her work on the film Oklahoma. Now here's a rare and unusual car in the collection, an '87 Buick Grand National. Buick decided that they wanted to make a super high performance car, so they came out with the Grand National, and the thing couldn't get out of its own way. So they sent the engine off to McLaren and said, can you guys rework this thing? And well, McLaren did, and they put that engine in the '87. They were only able to produce 547 of these things, but they all go like a rocket ship. In 1956, when Ford released the T-Bird, Aaron McBride fell in love with the car, thought it was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen, and wanted to have one. They've got this one here in the hangar. Fewer than 50,000 miles on it, and in pretty darn good original shape. But Aaron McBride also bought himself a brand new one right off the showroom floor, brought it home, and found out he couldn't get in and out of the thing very well, and it was very uncomfortable, so he parked it. And here it sits to this very day. It has been driven just a bit, and it's been off to a few car shows, needless to say, but it's 100% stock original, just as it came off the showroom floor in 1956. A lot of T-Bird experts, you know, the people who judge these things at car shows and whatnot, have come here to see this car just to use it as a judging guide, because you're not going to find a more authentic, more original Ford T-Bird for 1956. The car has its original tires on it, and they look brand new. It even still has its original battery, although it'll no longer hold a charge. Well, we've just barely scratched the surface on this collection, so we're going to come back here next week and look at the Indian motorcycles and some of the other amazing cars that are here, and take a look at the connection with Burt Murnau, the world's fastest Indian, this museum at the Bonneville Salt Flats, and even the connection to the dropping of the atomic bomb. Well, that is fundamentally just amazing, just all those great cars, and just
wonderful,
unbelievable. And we're back there next week, because we really didn't see all of it. In fact, we saw maybe half of what's worth seeing. So we split the show in half because it's just too much to cover in one show. We've got some amazing cars to show you next week, and some more bleached bones out in the yard there.
Yes.
So, but fun stuff. If you haven't been to the channel, you can get there by clicking the blue button over here that says subscribe, and that'll take you to the channel. If you're not a subscriber, you can click on the button and it will subscribe you, and you want to be a subscriber because the benefits of being a subscriber are, well, there aren't that many benefits, but you do get alerted whenever we put a movie up.
That's right.
And that's the key.
That's the fun part.
Is to know that we've put a movie up so you can watch it. And it's not that hard to figure out because we put them up every Sunday morning.
Exactly.
So anyway. But blue button popping in right now, over here,
over there.
Subscribe. Chase that button, it'll take you to the channel.
Right.
Well, we're not sure how you found this fun and exciting and interesting movie on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring. And we will see you here again in 1 week with some more massive screwing around. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.